Yeah, morning, everyone. John Heseltine from OCS Consulting, historically a program manager, but now I'm helping businesses put people at the heart of their change. And my word for the day is energized.
Energized. Very good. Well, that's a good one to start with. Excellent. Thank you, John. Welcome. Martin Leonard.
Hi, it's Martin from Citizen. I'm the creative director of Citizen. We're a full-service creative marketing agency. And according to LinkedIn, I've been with Citizen for 22 years.
Wow.
I know, it's mad. My word for the day is calm.
Calm. So we've got energized and calm so far. Very good. Right. Stephanie from Sienna X.
Hiya, I head up the marketing department here at Sienna. We're an international beauty brand. And my word today is cold because the heating's not on back here.
Oh no.
Right. Okay. Very good. So I didn't. Was that your one word? Sorry, didn't quite catch it properly. Must it?
It was, yeah.
Great, brilliant. Thank you, Tim. Welcome, Tim Haynes.
How you doing?
Good. So
good. So Tim Pearce, managing partner of Haynes Watson Worcester, firm of accountants, chartered accountants, business advisors. My word, 2 words. Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. Okay. Peter Francis.
Good morning, Peter Francis from MATL. We help businesses troubleshoot, improve and create industrial and business processes for transformations and movement. My word for today is rushed.
Rushed. Okay. Yeah. All right. Good. Thank you. Welcome, Peter. Julia Hughes.
Yeah, from Working Solutions in Ludlow. So I do recruitment. I could talk about telesales people, but not this second. So cheerful today.
Cheerful. Good. Nice to see you, Julia. Thank you. Peter Jones.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Jones, coach trainer nationwide, although I'm working with those. My word for today is boosted. Boosted. Vaccine.
Okay, excellent. Well done. Good. Thank you. Samantha.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm from Sienna. We are a beauty company. I'm with Steph, my colleague. I'm the contact centre manager and I'm feeling focused today.
Brilliant. Great to have you, Samantha. Thank you. Matt Busby.
Morning, everyone. Matt Busby from the Name Label Company, and we produce personalised name labels. And my word for today is reset.
Reset. Okay. Very good. Sheridan Chaffee.
Good morning. Sheridan from Batella. It's a clothing and giftware brand selling wholesale to hundreds of small retailers. And my word today is busy.
Busy. Yep. Okay. Good. Well, thank you for joining us.
Brexit.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Vernice, welcome.
I'll just unmute myself there. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vernice Jeffers. I'm from the Community Housing Group in Kidderminster. I'm a jobs coach, so I help the local community go back into work. And my word for today is interested. Interested. Okay. Interested to hear what everybody's got to say.
Good. Well, welcome to the ScaleUp Club. Thank you.
Thank you.
Philip Ingalls.
Hi, I'm Philip from a company called Waxter. We help companies tell their stories about their products, their services, and their people, mostly through animation. And my words is slightly overloaded at the moment.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Philip. Dr. Lizzie.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Lizzie from Release Your Potential. I'm a coach and I help you go from good to great, and also give lots of tools and techniques for stress management needed right now. So here to support you. Thank you.
And what's your one word?
Oh, my word is a bit coldy, not COVID.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you. Steve Parker.
I'm Steve from Steve Parker ICD International Company Development. I help people with all things international, including getting more out of their existing markets and expanding into markets globally. And my word for today is simmering-nicely.
Okay, all right, you're simmering on the boil. Right, good. Sara Marrett.
Morning, everybody. Sara Marrett from the HR department. I provide outsourced HR advice and solutions to any small and medium-sized businesses in Worcestershire, and have been doing so for the past 6 years. So my word for today is clean. We had a new shower fitted yesterday and our boiler repaired. So yes, I'm feeling very clean today, thankfully.
Very good, excellent. Glad to hear it. Good, Faith, Faith Guest.
Morning everyone, Faith Guest. I'm from Tools of the Trade. So we are an importer and distributor of hand tools. We sell then through distribution channels to business, anywhere really that you would think to buy hand tools. Pretty much supply in the UK market. And I guess my word for today is juggling.
Juggling.
Which has probably been my word for several months, but yeah, I'm definitely juggling work and childcare right now.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one, I think, for a lot of us. Yeah, good. Claire Hill, welcome.
Hill HR Consultancy. Basically, we help small businesses with all their HR employment and recruitment needs throughout Worcestershire and beyond. And my word is occupied, i.e. busy, but I'll say occupied instead.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Claire. Good. Jo Widdowson.
Morning, yeah, Jo Widdowson from Blueprint Direct Mail in Droitwich, your provider of personalised direct mail, engaging way to reach your client base. Yeah, and my word today is chilled.
Chilled. Super. Thank you very much, Jo. Nigel Busby.
Yeah, morning all. Nigel Busby in Control Marketing. We're the proud owners of some marketing software that helps distributors, wholesalers, vendors to perform better. I think my word for today is, it was going to be busy, but I think I've changed it to frantic. It just feels a bit full on, really. So,
all right, good. Thanks for joining us, Nigel. Jeremy Strong. Oh, we need to unmute Jeremy.
So, morning, everyone. My name is Jeremy Strong from Invoker Telecom. We provide cloud-based phone systems for small businesses all throughout the UK. My word for today is probably following New Year's resolutions until 20 to 2 this afternoon, not that I'm counting, is hungry.
Hungry. Okay, so you're fasting in the mornings, are you?
Yeah.
All right, good. Okay. All right, Peter Roper.
Morning, everybody. Peter Roper, family businessman, head of the family business practice, 165 now family businesses across the West Midlands. I've been doing meditation and Pilates this morning, so I'm not just chilled, I'm relaxed.
Wow, excellent. Laid back, Peter. Good. Elaine Frostman.
Morning, everybody. I'm Elaine Frostman-Clark, and I own EFC Performance, and we are a leadership and management development company, also offering executive coaching, and my word for today is optimistic.
Very good, thank you, Elaine. Welcome. Debbie Mann.
Hi. Ooh. Hi everyone, I'm Debbie Mann from a company called Parallel Lines Marking Limited, and we provide line marking for sports, roads and health and safety. And my word today is bullish.
Bullish, okay, excellent, good. Angie Mills-Cooper.
Morning everybody, Angie Mills-Cooper from HR with Heart. Anything to do with HR or mentoring, that's what I do. My word of the day is absolutely shattered. The dog got me up at 3 o'clock this morning and I'm on coffee number 3 already.
Oh, okay, all right, good. Well, let's hopefully we can keep you awake. Amar, welcome.
Hi, Amar Mehta from Bradley Haynes Law, corporate commercial solicitor. My word for the day is breakout, because I got thrown into a breakout room by accident, but at least I got to meet
okay.
2 other people more better. So yeah, for your general legal needs, we do corporate, commercial, property, etc. I think I see a number of clients from Bradley Haynes here as well.
Brilliant. Well, welcome, Amar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good. Christoph.
Hello, everybody. So I'm Christoph Convert, owner and founder of Convert Solutions, and we offer mechanical design engineering and project management to manufacturing and companies So my word for today is excited.
All right, very good. Excellent. Well, good to see you, Christoph. And Brendan.
Hello, Brendan from K&B Telemarketing. We're a telesales company. My word for the day is determined.
Determined. Okay. Well, nice to have you, Brendan. Your connection is not great. Again, actually, it's a bit Dalek-y coming through, but hopefully that'll be all right.
Hello.
As we go. No, you're fine.
Yeah.
Good. So, Melanie, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. So I'm a core advisor at Be Smart, working with Kevin and Caroline. And my word today is supportive. So I'm here to support you and facilitate you.
Brilliant. Good. Thank you. Caroline, did you want to say a few words?
Just apologise again for those people that I moved off to an empty breakout room. I won't press that button again.
All right. No, don't worry. Good. Okay. So I think that's everybody. Let me know if I've missed anybody, but as you can hear going around the room, a great mix of businesses, all sorts of businesses here. So please do use the chat. We've set it so that you can chat privately as well. So if there's anybody there that you think, you know what, that I'd really like to make contact with that person, then feel free to do that via private chat. Or also, if you'd like an introduction from us at some point afterwards, then let Caroline know or me know, and we can, or Mel, and we can do that and facilitate that introduction for you at another point. So really good mix of businesses. I'm going to share my screen if I press the right buttons here now, and let's do that. So. Quick outline of what we've got in store for you this morning. So between now and 11 o'clock, we've got a little bit more in terms of me setting the scene this morning. I'm just going to talk about the theme of the month and a little bit of background. Then we're fortunate to hear from Sara Marrett of the HR department. So the theme this morning is around job scorecards. It's around people, and Sara, as an expert in that side of things, is going to be talking through about hiring A players essentially, and making sure that we've got a great process in place to get really good people coming into our organisation. Where I'm going to give a quick overview of a great new initiative that's around. It's actually a government publicly funded initiative called Peer Networks. I'm going to talk, let people know about that, make sure you're aware of it and whether it's suitable for you. And then we're going to go into the meat of the morning, which are the breakout sessions, where we're going to groups of five or six, and with the aim of trying to collaborate with each other and work a little bit more closely with each other to see if there are opportunities where we can help each other essentially within that. And then we'll return to the main room for any overall takeaways and closing remarks, and then let everybody go for around about 11 o'clock. I think we all know this. We're all used to the Zoom aspects and the online etiquette and all of those things. So please do put yourselves on mute when you're not actually talking or needing to talk. Use the chat room as I've said, but do bear in mind confidentiality. It's quite likely that within the rooms, in the breakout rooms, that there's going to be some things that are talked about that need to be kept confidential. So please do bear that in mind, and also go into those rooms with an open mind and be prepared to not only to challenge other people in a positive way, but also prepared to be challenged. You know, that's the point of it. You know, let's challenge each other's thinkings a little bit more, not just take things at first sight, and be open and look for those takeaways, that constantly looking for those that you can apply then back to your business. And please, this is not about selling our services to each other. That's not what this is about. It's about trying to help. So please don't overly sell whatever you have to sell. And if you do have to leave a breakout room early, which we accept that one or two people might, but please do try and stay to the end. But if you really do have to leave early, please pop back to the main room first and let Caroline know, so that we don't end up with one or two people on their own in a breakout room without sufficient people to make it worthwhile. So what's it all about? those were great. I know there's quite a number that have been before. There's a few new people as well to this. So ScaleUp Club is all about meeting, sharing, collaborating and learning. That's what we're trying to do. Meet new people, share ideas, share what we're doing, share things we're working on, but look for opportunities to collaborate, but also with a little bit of learning, you know, not too much. We don't try and overburden people with lots of theory, but real practical things, 1 or 2 points, things to think about each time. And we have a different theme each month that we introduce, and we pull those themes from our overall scale-up methodology, where we're looking at the scale-up journey. And we know that in order to progress from one step to the next, or even to make a resilient business at one of those great stepping stones, that we need to think about strategy, people, execution and cash every time. So every month what we do is we pull one topic, maybe one framework, one tool, one idea from each of those, from one of those pillars each month, so that we're constantly looking and thinking about things where we might need to improve. And part of the reason for that is, you know, it may or may not surprise you. I know I put this up before, but 96% of businesses remain less than 10 employees, or put another way, only 4% of businesses have 10 or more employees in this country. And essentially what we're about is we're trying to move that dial. We're trying to increase the number of businesses that do get beyond that. Not to say that everybody has to do that, but we want to facilitate that where people want to. And part of the way that we're doing that is trying to help people to collaborate and learn from their peers, as well as overlaid with some great principles about the scale-up journey. As I said, we pull a topic from the theme each month. Those of you that came in December, we looked at how to develop your marketing budget. So we looked at just a little overview, some simple ideas around the marketing budget. This time around, it's around the Jobs Scorecard for key roles. And in a way, what better time to start the new year, or better way to start the new year than to have a look at your roles with all the other thinking that you're doing. You might be thinking about whether you need to recruit people, or whether you've got the right people, the right structure in your business as you've got at the minute. But great time to start thinking about making sure that we're clear about everybody's roles and accountabilities. And as I say, maybe you're looking to hire, or maybe simply you want to make sure that everybody that you do have is being as effective as possible, and particularly perhaps while we're in lockdown and working remotely. And the Job Scorecard is one way that you can start, and that can help you with that. And essentially the question that I'm kind of putting out and to everybody and to think about is, for each of your key people, where you've got a team of people, would you enthusiastically rehire that person in that role? You know, if you had the opportunity to start afresh, would you recruit them again? You know, because clearly that's what we want. You know, we want everybody in our team to be thinking, yeah, absolutely, they're exactly who I'd want in that role. Clearly you want that, but every now and then we know that as the business grows and develops, it may outgrow people, roles change, and you know, it may be that we're not sure about that. So how do we answer that question is one of the things that the Job Scorecard can help with. And essentially, I'll show you a template of it in a minute, but essentially it's a nice simple way, rather than necessarily a full job description, which we know probably ends up in a drawer somewhere and not being used. The Job Scorecard is a management tool, so it can actually be used. You know, the idea is that it is used on an ongoing basis, and it essentially has 3 key elements to it. The first is the mission. You know, what is the mission or the purpose of that role? So just a nice succinct one paragraph, but you know, what is the overarching mission of that role? But then we need to spell out the desired outcomes, including the accountabilities and metrics for that role. So just bullet point form, and again I'll show you how we do that in a minute, but just very simply, what are the key outcomes? But then also don't forget, what are the expected behaviors? You know, what is it within our business that is a what for BizSmart? You know, what is the BizSmart way? What is our culture? What do we expect in terms of behaviors and competencies from our people? So maybe with our core values, but what is it that makes up a BizSmart person? So it is much more powerful in many ways than a job description, and that's partly, if not largely, because of the emphasis on the outcome. So in one sense it's simpler because it's definitely shorter, but it does need a little bit of careful thinking. It's worth a bit of time to it. So here's a basic template, and we can send all of you that have come today, we'll send out a couple of slides after the meeting with a template in it. But essentially, apart from the top bit where, you know, find what's the position, location, reports to, sort of thing, but there's that, you know, what is the mission. So I've done a little bit of an example here, maybe for a salesperson. So, you know, it's to increase the revenues of our whatever service product from existing and new customers, expected to follow up on leads, etc., etc. So just spell out what is the purpose of that role. But then, as you can see, the meat of it is this little table in the middle with the columns of what are the accountabilities. So it might be to increase sales with existing customers. Well, okay, so what are the metrics that go with that? Just the key metrics. And then you've got a couple of columns that we can rate people on, essentially. So the first one might be a simple ABC rating on whether they've actually achieved what they've done. So you can use this as you might imagine as an evaluation, whether it be your regular 6-monthly or annual evaluation, or it might be at the end of an onboarding process with a new person. But I'm going to come to the comments at the end and the board at the end there. But at the bottom, you can then also see that you can then put some of the things that link back to your core values and the core behaviors. And I've put some examples here of 10 things that you can do with 0 talent. You know, so these might be just some ideas, but things that that you might want to establish as, yeah, everybody, that's what we expect from people within the organization. So if you're recruiting somebody, it's a good idea to do this first before you start the recruitment process. You can also use it then when you're setting expectations when they start for that onboarding, because you can do this with somebody. So rather than necessarily just tell them, you can start with it and then say, okay, well, what do you think? And you can make sure that they've bought into it. But you can also use it as an ongoing tool then to manage people, set expectations, make it very clear what the key things are that you're looking for within each role. So really simple, but I think you can probably imagine can be very powerful. A couple of words just on that final column on the board rate. If we're trying to answer that question about whether you do enthusiastically rehire, clearly we have a gut feel, but it's sometimes difficult to talk to people about a gut feel. Well, essentially, there are 4 key areas that somebody needs to do for us to be able to answer that question positively. First is the behaviors. Do they exhibit those kind of behaviors that I've mentioned? And you know, do they fit in within the team? So are they consistently exhibiting those behaviors? But secondly, fine, do they have the ability? So, you know, do they have the skills and the confidence to be able to do this role? But it's more than that, because then do they actually understand where they understand where we're headed, the role that they're playing in the organization, and why their role is important? Do they actually get it? Do they really get their role? And the final one, which is really important also, is do they want it? Do they have the desire to do that role? Because we might have somebody that's technically brilliant, but actually they couldn't really care less. It's just a stepping stone for them and they're not really in it. Well, you know, we wouldn't necessarily enthusiastically rehire that person. So using this acronym is quite a nice, simple way of them just being able to do a double check. And of course, you can have a conversation, which is, yeah, we're absolutely great on, you can see you really get the job, you really want it, looks like you really understand what it is. You might be a little bit lacking in 1 or 2 of these areas of skills. So maybe we need to work on that. Or equally, maybe it's a deeper issue. Maybe it's something around the behaviors or the desire that you can talk about. So that is essentially all I wanted to talk about on the job scorecard. So there you are. There's just that board rate just pulled out a little bit more there. So I'm not going to labour the point anymore on that. That's just a little bit of a summary. And what I'm going to do now, which will link in with this, is to introduce Sara Marrett, who's going to talk a little bit about some the business insights on how to attract A players. And Sara is one of our select members, runs the HR department, and somebody that I've known and rate very highly. So Sara, if I could ask you to unmute and to hand over to you.
Thanks,
So
Kevin. And I didn't pay you to say those nice words either. So yeah, thank you. Really, really appreciate it, and for giving me the opportunity to speak to everybody. So yeah, I'm just very briefly going to follow on, I think, quite nicely from Kevin and his job scorecard, and talk about how you attract sort of these A players into your business. If you just move on a slide, Kevin.
Yep. Sorry, it will. There you go.
Thank you. So whether you've got or haven't got talent really helps determine whether your company will continue to grow or just sort of stagnate and stay where it is. And having the right people in your business, as I'm sure all of you know already, will help determine whether you will succeed. I'm just going to talk through very briefly this A method for hiring, because I think it will help you if you haven't already got them. I'm sure some of you have. Create this team of A players, and it will help you as business leaders then to sort of have the right people to do the doing, and you can focus on more the strategy and aligning your business going forwards. Thanks, Kevin. So the main areas I'm going to focus on basically are building the scorecard, which Kevin has already talked about, which really is the blueprint, your starting point really. I'm not going to go over this again because Kevin has. I'm just going to pull out a little bit on the competencies, because I think these sort of really help determine the individual that you need within the business. And as Kevin said, can be sort of around your core values and culture within the organization. I mean, some examples, you know, I know Kevin has them for sales, but you could be challenging things like their efficiency, their persistence, their attention to detail, organizational and analytical skills, etc. And you should really use these within the next phase, which is sort of the recruitment side of it, to help dig deep into what that individual is about and what their competencies are. If you do the next bit, please, Kevin. Once you've got your scorecard, so you know what you're looking for, it's all about now how you source these candidates. Don't expect the right person to be actively looking for a job currently. They may not know that the right job is out there for them within your business. So you need to actively search for them, and this is really crucial. Look to source them through your own networks currently. Your own network connections may know very talented individuals that fit the bill, particularly if you're happy to share your job scorecard with them, then they may know people within their network that can be really strong for your organisation. And also, I always think it's good to encourage your own employees to use their networks and to refer anybody onto you that they think may be suitable. Those that are already in your employment will know what the organisation is about, will know the culture of it, the team fit, etc. So they'll be quite key. Also, remember nowadays that the majority of candidates will prefer to use online and social media platforms when looking for jobs. So think about where you're going to advertise. Advertising in the local paper just doesn't work anymore because people don't look there. So always think about using your social media platforms, which will be free for the majority of it as well, and online job boards. That's where people tend to go to. Thanks, Kevin. The next stage is sort of the interview process. And this may sound excessive, but there could be sort of 4 types of interviews that you should consider, really. Each of them has a specific purpose and brings values in different ways. Obviously, these are challenging times, so face-to-face interviews in person aren't really happening, but the initial one, which people tend to use a bit, is phone screening. So they do an initial telephone interview to screen the candidates, select the best one to move on to the next step. You can perhaps look at using 4 specific questions, same one for each candidate, to sort of going through your job scorecard, what's the essential things that people need to have to move on to the next level. And they're not as time consuming as sort of going straight to a full-on interview. And then do the more detailed sort of top grading in-person interviews, which will probably be online at these stages, and go over the last 10 years of their job experience. If you've got somebody that's obviously been in employment for 25, 30 years, you don't really need to go back to the start. Just focus on the last 10 years. What have they been doing? What have been the reasons for them moving on and changing roles? What motivates them? What drives them to progress in their careers? These interviews should be quite in-depth. There should be a minimum of an hour, really. And always make sure that you're using the same questions for each candidate. And also remember at the back of your mind that each applicant and candidate has the right of sight to see your recruitment notes. So don't put anything down there that may be seen to be discriminatory in any way. And remember that people do have right of sight of them. They can request that at any time. The next thing you might want to think about is more focused interviews. And I have got clients that do this very successfully, where they get their current team to kind of interview the candidate as well. This can really help with the individual getting an understanding of the business and the team that you've got in place, but also what the team think of that individual and how they think it will be a good fit or not for the business. They could be more focused on sort of the responsibilities of the job, so what it's about day to day, and like I say, the compatibility with the team, really. And then the last one on the interviews is something which hopefully you all do anyway, is the references. Getting previous references on candidates is quite key. If you're confident to contact the references, if they're happy to speak to you and conduct informal sort of discussions about the candidate, then that's great. Not all employers will be keen to do this, and you may just get a standard response from some of them. Some people may refuse as well, but it is important that you get some form of written reference about individuals previously, because that's kind of your check and test about what they've told you about their previous roles as well. Next stage, Kevin, please. And then you've got to make your decision, really. And this is where Kevin's scorecard comes in, and the grading is sort of A, B or C. Make sure that you sort of are conducting the interviews, like I say, in a systematic way. So you're getting the same data for each candidate, so that it's a consistent method and approach to grade the A, B and C. And then you select the candidate with the highest grade, but you've got your sort of your background work done there on the job scorecards as to why they've been given that grade. What is the most essential and important things for you? Using the scorecards helps to eliminate the bias and really makes it more likely that you've chosen the best person for the job. And like I say, just remember, if you have got a comments piece on your scorecard, that they have got the right of sight of that, so be careful what you put again. And then the last stage, really, Kevin, if you can move it on, is selling from the start. Remember that the individual has to decide to come to you. So you really need to be selling your business yourself. It's not all about them selling to you because you sort of, they want to join your team. That, you know, you need them to like you, basically, like your culture, your values. So make sure you're getting that across all the time as well. Last slide, Kevin. And it's, where is it? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's the fog. So just a little bit of a riddle, really, to summarize it up about certainly the selling side of things. So if there's 5 frogs sitting on a lily pad and one decides to jump off, how many frogs does that leave on the lily pad? Now you may think, well, it's 4 because one's jumped off. Just because the one frog has decided to jump off doesn't mean he's actually physically done it. So people may be sort of thinking about leaving their roles, but actually making that big step to do it is a very different thing. So that's where the importance is of selling to it, because they've made an application, because they've come to an interview, doesn't necessarily mean that's it, you've got them in the bag. So always think positive about selling your company to those that are around as well. And at every opportunity of the process as well. The initial response to their application, they will remember. The phone screening conversation, they will remember. It's not just about the job offer stage and what they're thinking there. So I think hopefully that's been sort of a bit short and sweet, but giving some ideas there.
Thank you very much, Sarah. That's super. And there'll be more opportunities to ask Sarah some questions in the breakout rooms, as well as I know we've got 1 or 2 other HR people on the call. So you know, there might be another breakout room, so there'll be more opportunity to ask some questions there. And on that selling, I don't know how many of you have seen this, but we've certainly seen it with a lot of people that we work with over the years, that it's not infrequent that a job is offered. You think you've got this wonderful candidate and they say they're going to come, and then shortly before they're due to start, they tell you that actually the previous employers offered them more money, they're going to stay, or whatever it might be. So this selling it and really want to selling that role so they want it, but also maybe asking them in that final interview, if okay, so it's great, you know, if you've offered the job or whatever, but you know, what do you think your current employer might say when you go back and you say that you're about to leave? You know, what do you think they might do, and how are you going to handle that then? And you kind of get them thinking about it, and hopefully addressing the fact that they might get offered a bit more money, and that maybe they're going to turn that down or whatever. But at least you've made them think about it, and not just crossing your fingers. So brilliant, thank you very much, Sara. That's superb. So couple of words now. I'm not going to go on too long about this, but there is a program now that is available called Peer Networks, and it's around working very closely together with small groups of like-minded business owners through a series of high impact sessions that are led by somebody that's trained in facilitating those groups, and also to some degree a specialist in the particular area of those sectors. So it includes all sorts of things, but essentially it's around collaborating very closely. So it's a bit like, you know, what we could do in the breakout rooms here, but on steroids. You get much more time, but much more in-depth working with other business owners. And the idea, and as I say, it's fully funded program, so it doesn't cost anything. There are some eligibility criteria which I'll go on in a minute, but if anybody's interested, then they can message us through the chat or contact us separately. But again, the idea is to overcome business challenges and recognize and act on things, but build a trusted network of connections to support you now and in the future, but also with the key aim of improving long-term and personal business performance. And for me, peer networks, working with peers, one of the key things it does is it helps you make better decisions faster, because you've got people that have probably come across those problems before, or that can really challenge you, help you come to those decisions much more quickly, and act as that kind of sounding board for us. It is available to pretty much any SME. There's no particular sectors. However, you need to be in an operation for at least a year. You need to have at least 2 employees, and ideally 5, and you need to have a turnover of at least 100,000 and an aspiration to improve. So those are the key things, and there's a couple of ideal ones as well: the potential to scale up and the ability or the potential to export, which I'm sure Steve Parker, his ears will prick up at that, with being our resident international expert. But if you're interested at all in it, then do let us know. But you do need to meet those 4 basic criteria at the top there. And then these are the kind of things that you would get. So there's limited places. We can have 6 to 8 on each cohort. The program starts very soon and runs through to the end of March. Don't worry about that first session on the 13th. You could join us for the next one, which will be on the 27th. So there is a little bit of time, but not much, and the places are going very, very quickly. So that sort of thing that you would get out of it. We had Mark Wright on a launch event for it the other day, and essentially he said you'd have to be mental not to take part. So you know, I'm sure anybody that's interested, I'm sure you will contact us. These are the kind of these are 2 particular cohorts that we're really keen to get good businesses in. The idea is that they're non-competing businesses, by the way. So if you're in one of these cohorts, you won't have a competitor within there. There'll be people that might be in your supply or value chain or your contact spheres that actually you could work with nice and closely. So in the cyber side and IT and digital, a whole range of things, right through from IT type companies, which we've already got one. We've already got 3 people already within this, starting in this cohort. One's an IT services company, one's a data company, but there are different kinds of companies right through to video production companies, animated videos, or telecoms type companies, but also on the food and drink side, whether it be a food and drink manufacturer, producer, or maybe a microbrewer or grower, vineyard, packaging, distribution, logistics. We've also got an event company and a venue also already within this cohort to add to those. But as you can see, the idea is that the groups are formed of people that can work together and really collaborate and work. So if either you fit into one of those you think in particular, or if you know people that you think would benefit from that and would be a great member of that group, and they meet the eligibility criteria, then please do let us know. So that's enough of that. What we're going to do now, I think Caroline is ready with the breakout rooms, and we're going to go into the breakout rooms. We've got 4 great facilitators. For our select members are going to facilitate the rooms. So Sara is one of those. Mel is going to be another, and then Philippe and then Steve are going to facilitate the other rooms. So thank you to them. And essentially, you've got an hour for those before we call you back in, and it's around how can we help each other. Okay. Here's some questions you might want to talk related to job scorecards and things, but you don't have to stick to that. You know, do a quick introduction of who you are, what you do within each room, but make sure you have plenty of time to ask each other questions. So if you've got a challenge, raise it. If you haven't got a challenge, then maybe talk about one of these aspects of the job scorecards. The facilitators will have these questions within their rooms, but the aim is make sure you've had a chance to come away with one or two takeaways that you can maybe think about differently within your business. So don't spend the 10 minutes that you each have just talking about what you do and why you do it. Try and limit that to 3 or 4 minutes, maybe at the most, to allow then a little bit of time for other people to ask you questions, because that's where you'll find the challenge and the value comes. All right. Well, I think, Caroline, are we ready to open those rooms?
Yeah, ready now.
And before we go, one of the other things that, just building on what Sarah was saying before, one of the things that I've not always been too up to date with regarding employment contracts, it's law now that if you're recruiting somebody, you have to have an employment contract in place from day one, at the latest. All right, that hasn't always been the case. Right? You know, and I absolutely know, and you may know businesses as well that still have employees that don't have employment contracts. Right, so that is definitely worth thinking about if you or any people you know don't have employment contracts in place for everybody. But if you're recruiting somebody, you need to make sure that by day one at the latest, you've got that employment contract in place. All right, so Caroline, are we ready to open them up?
Yeah, ready. Press the button now.
Yeah, please. See you later. We'll just wait for everybody to pop back in, and then we'll do some wrapping up. That's a very strategically positioned picture, Faith. It makes it look like you've got a nice floral display in your hair.
I like, there's a little cat that walks behind her occasionally. I love that.
Kevin knows all about the cat. Every Zoom call that cat is involved in. Ridiculous. But yeah, it's my new headdress. I quite like it.
Very good. Right, well done, everyone. I think we're all back. All the rooms are closed, aren't they, Caroline?
Yeah, everyone's back.
So I popped into some of the rooms. I think you had looked like some great discussions. So what I'd like to do is just get a feel for those discussions from each of the facilitators, if possible. So first of all, thank you very much to the facilitators for doing that, to the chairs of the room. What I'd like is a 1-minute summary, really, with just a couple of overall key takeaways from the discussion this morning from each of the chairs. Mel, can I start with you, please, and show everyone how to do it? That would be brilliant.
You can. So we had Matt Busby from the Name Label Company. We had Amar Mehta from Bradley Hayes. Debbie Mann from Parallel Lines Marking, Sammy from Sienna X, and Martin from Citizen. And a few key takeaways: we can't just keep people by paying them. Leading by example, quality over quantity, the importance of recruitment structure and behaviours when you're using this job scorecard, and also looking at organisational structures for the future so you can kind of plan ahead.
Super, perfect. Thank you very much, Mel. Philippe, can I come to you next?
Yeah, sure. With John Hasseltine, Nigel, Peter Roper, Peter Francis, Angie Mills, and Joe. Well, we had quite a spread of different subjects, but one of them was how to determine the value, or how to convince people about the value that you're offering. And one of the suggestions was to focus on the cost of investment, so they know what it's going to cost them, and then show the bottom line per benefit that you are actually offering. We also had a suggestion that for people that are not thinking about marketing or all that, they should be convinced that or asked whether they are actually working on what they will need in 12 months' time, because we reckon that this COVID thing is not going to be over anytime soon. And then we had the interesting one about about relationship building, and the fact that, you know, now without being able to see people face to face, that it's much more difficult to build relationships on Zoom. But Peter Roper pointed out to us that this is actually very much a mindset problem, because there's a lot of opportunities to be able to build, you know, good relationships. And two of the suggestions was, you know, to ask the people to walk with their mobile phones through their offices or their home or whatever, and show the other people that are there, and, you know, build up a conversation like that. And another suggestion, which was quite cool, is to send people some biscuits. And so, you know, we would usually have this conversation around tea and biscuits. So I'm sending you that, and we can have our biscuits while we have our Zoom call.
Very good. Super. Thank you very much, Philip. Excellent. Steve, can I ask you next, please? Oh, yeah, we can't hear you, Steve. I think you're on mute.
Yep. Oh, hey, that was professional, wasn't it? Sorry about that.
You've gone on mute again, Steve. Tell you what, I'm going to come to Sara first, if I may, and then we'll come back to Steve while he just sorts that out, if that's okay.
No problem. Thanks, Kevin. Yeah, so in my group, we had Jeremy from Invoco, Faith from Tools of the Trade, Julia from Working Solutions, Tim from Haynes Watts, and Steph from CNX. I think what the key things that came out of our group was that with the 6 of us in the room, 3 of companies were actively recruiting and have been during lockdown, which I think is really positive. And I think it's quite apt that the scorecard was discussed today, because that was mentioned as a key takeaway for people to use going forwards. Also, we talked around onboarding people during lockdown, which is quite a challenge. I think another key takeaway was about making sure that for new members of the team, the company goes into quite a lot of detail early on about the company's vision, values, setting expectations, agreeing expectations for that new individual as well. So all in all, I think they're quite a positive group meeting.
Super. Thank you very much, Sara. That's excellent. Steve, are we able to hear you now?
I'm hoping so. It says unmute on my screen. Are you okay? Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, we had Brendan, Vernice, Sheridan, Peter and Claire on mine. We discussed one of Brendan's current ones, which is about whether recruiting new people and also recruiting managers, and whether you should recruit one before the other, and what we should do, some suggestions to help the existing people he got of buddying up to help them progress, maybe finding the quieter person who might be really brilliant at being the top. We discovered that you can make subtle changes to job descriptions, and Claire Hill gave us some tips on where you needed to change the contract or whether it could just be part of the job description. Sheridan asked a question about dropping tests into the interviews without pre-warning them, and whether you were allowed to do that or whether you needed to tip people off first, because in the old days you could just test people on anything, but now you have to give them advanced warning. We had some tips for Peter about how to get the best from his telemarketing people, and that telemarketing people need variety. And we also had the dilemma as whether you should physically meet people as well as just doing it remotely. And on a more jovial note, we had some good examples of teamwork, particularly with Sheridan, who got bought a croissant with jam from down the bottom of the garden and a cup of coffee while we were in the meeting, which was a really good example of teamwork, we thought.
Very good. Excellent. Well done, Sheridan. Okay, thank you very much, Steve. That's super. And yeah, please let me just thank all those chairs again for spending their time and doing that. It's not an easy role to facilitate 5 or 6 other people and get the conversations going, make sure everybody's had a chance to ask their right questions, and to make sure that everybody's had some takeaways. So thank you very much to the 4 of you, to Mel, to Philip, Sara and Steve for doing that. Please do make sure that you've thought about at least 1 or 2 key takeaways that you've got individually from your sessions this morning, and things that you're going to do differently in your business. Now, that's what this is about, really. It's about making sure that you've got something that you can take away and do better, hopefully. So just a couple of things now to just finish off with. So we're nearly there now. Just a reminder first about ScaleUp Club. I know a number of you are already members, or either through smart boards or through ScaleUp Club directly, but it is a membership club. So please do, if you're not already a member, please consider becoming a member. It's you get not only these meetings, but in between we've got ebooks with the theme of the month, and there's video tutorials that go with that as well. And of course there is ScaleUp Radio. We put out episodes every week on ScaleUp Radio, and some of you might like to be interviewed on that actually for your ScaleUp story and get some exposure with that, as well as getting value out of listening to other people's experiences. So please do consider that. It isn't a high cost. It's really just a normal, it's £15 a month. So it shouldn't break the bank. Please do. As Caroline said earlier, we would love your feedback, and Caroline's put the link into the chat. So either just do that straight away afterwards if you would, but you can also capture your takeaways within that as well. But it certainly would help us to improve then how we run these ScaleUp clubs. So we definitely appreciate you doing that. Just to reiterate again on the peer networks, we've been tasked within Worcestershire with putting 5 cohorts together of 6 to 8 people within each cohort. So far we've got just short of 30 people interested. These are the 2 key sectors that we'd like a bit more focus on. We've got a few companies already started within these, but if you do know any companies, or if indeed you are one of these, and again you meet those criteria, the 2 key ones being at least 2 employees and 100k turnover, then we would definitely be interested in talking to you. And as I said, it's very much around really working together over the next 2 or 3 months to really see how we can help each other in those sort of synergistic groups, if you like to use that horrible synergy word. And then just a final reminder of the next ScaleUp Club. If you want to put it in your diaries now, it's February the 2nd, same time as usual as today. And the theme for that one will be around identifying opportunities for growth. So we'll look at a particular framework, but get some discussions going around, how do we look for opportunities for growth? How do we make sure that we're not just we're picking any old, jumping at any old opportunity, but we're prioritizing them, maybe looking at them, how we prioritize them against the chances of them succeeding or the risk of failure. But how can we start thinking about identifying opportunities for growth? And indeed, why should we? So that's what the next session is about. So that's the end today. So I'm going to draw the meeting to a formal close, but we've got a couple of minutes if anybody wants to say anything or ask a quick question before we go. But thank you very much indeed for your time today, and please do think about those takeaways and have a really good rest of January and start to the new year.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, everyone.
Kevin.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Kevin. Cheers.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.